Alright guys, it's time to finish building Nemesis, finally. And in order to finish this build, I'm going to need this. As you can see, I've got a slipper clutch in here with a gear cover and a spur gear. Pretty awesome, guys. Let me dump it all out so you can see. Alright. Spur gear, 76 tooth. This is what a Bandit VXL uses, and this is a 3300 kV motor. The Valenian system uses a 3500 kV motor, so this is pretty comparable. It's not really going to go considerably slower or anything, so going to stick with at least close to the stock gearing. Got the back plate, the slipper plate thing, as I like to call it. Came with a gear cover, which is nice. Spring, nut, and a little pin that will allow the slipper clutch to lock on to the, or at least the back of the slipper clutch to lock on to the shaft. So I do need to get this installed, but before I do that, I am actually going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and install grub screws. I'm going to install these little screws into the yokes. However, to do that, I'm going to have to get into the yokes. And to do that, I'm going to have to unscrew some things. I could just drill straight through it, but I need to make sure everything's lined up properly. I'm actually not very confident that it is, so let me just go ahead and remove this wheel real fast. Shouldn't take long. It's pretty much off already. And then I take off the wheel itself. Move this pin, this little washer. Then I can remove the pin that holds this axle carrier to the A-arm. Unscrew that, no problems with that at all. Alright, little bushing came out, that's alright. I can remove this part of the half shaft. And then I need to go ahead and pop off this other side of the half shaft from the yoke, because stupid designs. So, you know what? I think I'm actually going to go ahead and ignore the small countersunk screws that hold the yoke into the side of the thing. The what do I want to say? The side of the output for the diff gear, side of the diff gear output. Finally got that out. But basically, I think I'm going to remove that so that I can easily take the yoke off or put it back on as needed. But anyway, removing that screw that screws into the side, it's just going to make life a whole lot easier. There's no reason for it. It's in my eyes, it's pretty much useless as long as I've got those other pins that hold it in, which I'm going to be modifying the diff gear so I can do that. So I'll see you once I've gotten this shaft, half shaft off. Alright, finally. You can unscrew this yoke. It's going to be tricky, but I can do it. I've ruined everything. Okay, not quite, but it looks a little bit beat up now just because of having to pry it off so much. But once the screw comes out, I can straighten out the yoke. Actually, I could straighten it out as it is, but I do want to see the output of the diff gear first. And I can actually see markings from where it was, which is pretty convenient. And the reason for that is because I can take and drill straight through that. I do need to hold it still, which I've got needle nose pliers here for that. But I should be able to pretty much just drill it. Knock it straight. Alright Guys, whatever the metal for this stuff is made out of, yeah, it's not, it does not want to be drilled. It's not something I'm going to be able to drill out, which really sucks. So I'm just going to have to, live with this. So what I think I'm going to do is, remember those long screws I had before? I'm going to go ahead and go back to using those so that I can get a lot of length so that it won't slip out. And I can also use the scrub screw that I just found, which would be useful. Alright. Basically, where did it go? If I use this screw, then hopefully this one right here, it's the stainless steel ones that I used before, super long. Hopefully that'll do a much better job of holding in the yoke. And I'm just gonna hope that that's good enough, and then I'll put on that little grub screw that I found to help out. So let me see if I can first find the yoke. I mean, like, I'm just now working with this stuff, guys. I don't know how I lose stuff this fast. It's pretty silly. And I threw it in my closet, so subscribe to my YouTube channel for more quality content. Anyway, I was looking, we don't have a normal 2.5 or 2 millimeter, just a 2 millimeter hex screw adapter thing for this. It's really weird. It goes from, it has 1.3 millimeter, but not 2.0. It's got 1.5, which is something you'd expect to see on these RCs, but you gotta think 2.0 is just kind of the normal kind of screwdriver, but I don't know. It's weird. So we screw this all the way in. Now I get to put a little grub screw in there. So take that out, switch it out for a smaller bit, something that fits grub screws, like 1.5 millimeters. Alright, 1.5 millimeter. Put the grub screw on it. Stick the grub screw into the side of the yoke and screw it on really tight. And I mean really tight. We cannot let this slip. If it slips, it will not work at all. It'll be pretty horrible. Alright, well, I'm going to hope that that is going to hold it. What I'm going to do is actually push this drive shaft forward on this side. If you can see that, let me turn it this way a little bit. Push this drive shaft forward, so that way it'll be held back. And now I'm going to go ahead and attach a slipper clutch, so I can get as much as possible. So to do this, we will need a pin, which is right here, and I can't pick it up for some reason, but pin. The pin's in, guys. About to slide out. This back plate. Then the slipper plate thing. The spur gear with the eliminator on there. Next to spring. Then the nut. That's the last part. And we need to hold the slipper clutch really tight so that we can screw this in without it just spinning. And while it's held like that, we hold the gear. And since this drive shaft is forward, if I go ahead and crank on that screw a little bit rather than slip it inside the yoke, I should be able to actually screw it in tight, and hopefully that'll keep it from slipping while I try to drive my RC. Oh, that's gonna spin backwards. Okay, I see how that is. That's pretty tight, guys. Alright, now I get to put this whole mess back together. Alright, now that that's all been put back together, I can loosen the slipper clutch half a turn because it's still tightened all the way down, and that's not healthy. So half a turn should provide sufficient slippage so that I don't destroy any gears. Specifically, it'd usually be spur gears, but I do have a plastic diff gear, so that could also get destroyed. Alright guys, now I can install the pinion gear. So first thing I need to do is get a grub screw, which I think they included with my slipper clutch, which is really nice of them. Either that or it's just an extra one that fell in the bag, I don't know. Put the grub screw into the hole of the pinion gear. I'm not sure how big this is, but it's a little bit bigger than a 25 tooth, so I'm hoping it's like 28 tooth maybe. Plus or minus a tooth maybe. I don't know, loosen the motor screws so I can get the gear into place. Alright. Motor's installed. Now I just need to set the mesh, which feels absolutely perfect right there. Alright, mesh is set nice and tight. Screw both of these screws in nice and tight. And now I'm going to go see if I can find a wheelie bar or bumper mount just to put on the back of the transmission case, help protect it a little bit so everything doesn't get all torn up. Alright guys, I did end up finding my dad's wheelie bar mount from a Stampede VXL, and the screws for it, also from his VXL. So, it's not great, but I can use it. It'll be better than nothing. So I have 3 screws, one long, one really short. This one's really short, goes on this side. And then there's one that's still pretty long, but not quite as long as the first one. The really long and the slightly less long one go on this side. And this really long one goes in the bottom right here. Alright, the super long one is in. And this medium sized screw goes right in here. Gets screwed into this side. The whole screw ports feel like completely stripped. But that should be it. Grab the transmitter here. Turn that on. Turn it on. Whoa! Yeah, that's got a little bit of power there. I think my yokes are hitting because of the long suspension travel here. Yeah, that's crazy, guys. This is going to be a ton of fun to play with. I cannot wait to get home from school to play with this today. But there is one more thing I need to do, and that is to put on the gear cover. Not an absolute necessity, but it does help keep debris out. And it was included, so I don't see a reason not to go ahead and throw that on. I'm just going to have to find a couple of screws. Alright, I found a couple of screws that should actually work. So this one's really tiny. So I need to remove this wheel so I can access the bottom screw port. And then, well, I just dropped the gear cover in the trash can. Okay, you can see there that this short little screw goes into this bottom hole and screws in all the way at the bottom of this transmission. Okay, wouldn't be surprised if that fell right out, but got a little bit of a longer screw, and this one goes right up here, and it's probably going to end up all the way through the other side, or not. Nice. So, yep, gear cover's in place, and finally, and admire the work that's gone into this buggy. Yeah, this is freaking awesome. I mean, that's even more powerful than I was ready for, and I'm hoping it won't cog, so we'll see. But I'm going to be playing with this afternoon and recording it, so look out for his very first run. I did technically make an attempted run before using Damien's slipper clutch, but it was geared way too low and didn't really matter because the yoke kept popping off since I couldn't quite screw it in all the way. Anyway, who cares? It's done now. It's got its own parts. It even has the gear cover. Let's play with this.